All right, welcome. Today's topic will be on autoimmunity, an overlooked menace for women, especially during midlife. So we're going to begin with the foundations, which is what is autoimmunity? It occurs when the immune system, which is designed to protect you, mistakenly attacks your own tissues. Your immune system is constantly distinguishing between self and foreign. And when that recognition system breaks down, antibodies are formed against your own cells, which historically can go attack your thyroid, your joints, your gut lining, your skin, or your nervous system. And unfortunately, this is not a sudden event. This evolves over time. In functional medicine, we describe it like this. There's a genetic susceptibility, which is what we were talking about before this presentation began with a client on this call. So there's a genetic susceptibility, which is why the people that I work with, you all, we do that genetic panel to see where those genetic alleles are, or I don't know, like a weakness, although I don't prefer that word, but just like susceptibility, right? And then there's an environmental trigger that can happen, and that could be various different kinds. And then there can be intestinal permeability, and that can create an autoimmune overactivation. In Chinese medicine language, which is also part of my world, we describe this as internal heat combined with a damp accumulation and stagnation. So things get stuck, the volume gets turned up, or the oven gets turned up. And then when things get stuck, there's a dampness, and that really dampness is another word for digestive, like poor digestion. And then the stagnation kind of builds up more heat, and it often is rooted in a kidney depletion. So kidney qi, which is the root of your vitality. So anyway, the most important takeaway is that it's not random. It is ultimately a process. So like, how does it develop? How does this process unfold? And then one of the central drivers is the gut permeability, often called leaky gut. And the intestinal lining, sorry, I went wrong one. Wait, sorry. There we go. When the intestinal lining becomes compromised, proteins, toxins, microbes cross into the bloodstream, toxins being a big one, and especially in the world we're living in now. And the immune system responds aggressively. But over time, something called molecular mimicry can occur, and the immune system begins attacking tissues that resemble those foreign invaders. And then you add chronic stress into the picture. That's where you get the cumulative effect. So, and then you add in hormonal chaos from midlife. It just adds to the cascade, if you will. So, if gradually immune tolerance is lost, and the body forgets how to protect without attacking. And so over here, it says midlife is often when autoimmune conditions appear, but the groundwork was laid decades earlier. Chronic stress depletes the resilience over time. Again, I've said this before, that midlife, so much about midlife health is about restoring resilience. And all of these small, tiny, but super significant little daily decisions that we make are what either is moving us towards building better resilience or pulling us away from better resilience. And the rules do change. Like, I will say that I can accomplish way more now than I did when I was younger, but my resilience is not quite the same. And it's just a different set of rules that I operate with. Like, if you are an alcohol person that drank alcohol, you can tolerate alcohol way more when you're younger than you can now. And it's just, that's the way it is now. So same idea with our health. All right, so common autoimmune conditions in women, midlife women aged 40 to 60. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is probably the most common one, and that is a lot of brain fog. That's difficulty losing weight, sluggish, rheumatoid arthritis, obviously joint pain, inflammation. Lupus is a systemic autoimmune disease affecting multiple organs, and sometimes you have light sensitivity. Sjogren's syndrome affects moisture producing glands. I always, in Chinese medicine, I think of Sjogren's as a big kidney qi deficiency issue. Multiple sclerosis is more impacting the central nervous system. You also have celiac disease, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis, that's a chronic skin. I already went over multiple sclerosis. So the thing is that many women are told it's not, it's just menopause or it's just part of aging or it's just stress. And underneath, it's it's really immune dysregulation at its heart. So early warning signs not to ignored. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to this slide. Autoimmunity rarely begins dramatically. It often begins with the persistent fatigue, which we've talked about, joint pain and stiffness, brain fog and difficulty concentrating. Okay. So that's, you're not absorbing your nutrients as best you can because the gut has been compromised. Therefore, the brain is not getting the nutrients it needs and the clarity. Hair thinning, digestive shifts, well, that's at its root, right? But you can just see that you're not tolerating the food like you used to or the digestive process. Skin flare-ups, cold intolerance, and mood instability. So these are the whispers, if you will, before the immune system actually screams. So this is the window where intervention matters most. So if you are struggling with an autoimmune issue now, that's where these lifestyle, again, I'm sounding like a broken record, but that's where the importance and the urgency of taking the priorities into your life for setting yourself up for success despite X, Y, and Z. Because again, you're going to still be helping your body work less stringently. And then also you can educate your daughters, the younger generation, right? You now are armed with more information so that you can prevent this same lineup of cascade um, from happening to those around you because you know more, right? All right, so how autoimmunity develops the silent fire, because that is that is what it is in Chinese medicine, is it is a constant yin deficient fire. Again, you have yin and yang, right? Everyone knows that symbol. When yin and yang is balanced, it's like this. But if you have a little fire persisting, yin is the dark, the moist, the wet, right? So if you have a little fire that's constantly burning and it can't get taken out, that yin is going to burn up. And so it's going to look like extra yang, but there is not actual yang. Okay, sorry, that's me going off on a TCM. That's what I do. Um, so it is driven by chronic inflammation, right? Inflammation is that fiery under burn. Inflammation is protective short term, but long term, that's where it becomes very destructive. The drivers include processed foods, blood sugar instability, poor sleep, chronic stress, which I know is such an overarching thing, but it is. It's just the go, go, go without setting yourself up for, recovery and sleep and the good food, etc. And then visceral fat accumulation, which is around that middle area. So, as I stated earlier, in TCM, this is internal heat with damp stagnation. It's that yin getting burned off, and inflammation is the fire that fuels autoimmune progression. The thing is, I want you guys to all understand that inflammation is modifiable. So, this is not like a done deal. You're not stuck for life. You help mitigate the inflammation. So, inflammation, the fierce opponent. So, there is a widespread belief that autoimmunity only affects younger individuals. That's not true. Many diagnoses occur after 40, and the hormonal shifts do not cause autoimmunity, but they often accelerate or expose what has been simmering. So, you have to just understand, as I stated, that these impacts like the foods you're choosing and also how you're eating, the timing. Like Cindy shared a win that when she was stressed out, she only had one small sweet treat. That's a huge win. It seems small, but it's actually a huge win because she didn't drive her blood sugar into chaos again and again and again based on that stress. She was able to pull back, and so therefore she helped eliminate the inflammatory loop. Now, we all need to focus on sleep. The whole world needs to focus on sleep. Um, and there you go. And so, processed foods are full of the omega 6, and omega 6 is pro inflammatory. And so, that's why cold water fatty fish, which we're going to get into more down the road, but cold water fatty fish and your healthy fats are very helpful. So we just need to keep going back to the basics. It's like eat the way your great grandma ate, which was a grocery store that didn't look anything like it does today. Okay, so here, as I was stating, there's a misconception that it only affects the young, but really it's huge for the people in midlife because the tolerance of what you could get away with when you're younger finally breaks down, right? Your immune system can tolerate, can tolerate, can tolerate until it just can't. And then you add in the hormonal fluctuations of perimenopause and menopause, and then it all comes out when the buffers are starting to decrease, and that is like the estrogen specifically. So, what can we do to reverse this trajectory? Okay, so as I stated, anti-inflammatory in nutrition, and I am going to put together a little ebook with 10 simple anti-inflammatory foods that you can, and they're not complicated, but I just didn't have time to put that together. But I'm going to try to put together an ebook. How do I deliver it to you all? Not quite sure. Probably inside the app. Um, Stress regulation is a big one. And if you guys have not ever practiced it, box breathing is a huge, huge one for rebalancing that stress response. And that's just inhale with a count of four, hold it for a count of four, exhale for a count of four, and then hold it again for a count of four. And so if you find yourself like when you get really crappy news, just do a few of those breaths and it can help regulate you. So there you go. Blood sugar stabilization, that is a piece of why protein is so important because protein is the anchor that helps keep this at bay. All right, sleep optimization, working out, obviously gentle strength training to begin until you build your reserves or your resilience up, and then you can expand. But wherever you begin is in that gentle category, mainly body weight. And then obviously gut repair protocols, which is what I have or I will be working with each of you. Personalized assessments can be life-saving. And FYI, no one in here is trained on the Thrive 9 app, but I would love to actually introduce that to each of you, which is a self-assessment. It's an app, so it's one more website, but it is a comprehensive way for each of you guys, each of you ladies, sorry, to use to self-assess yourself. And you can do it once a month. Obviously, only if you're putting concerted effort into, righting the ship or making these positive changes in your life. And over the months, you will see the improvements in your life. The inside that the app, and I will send you a link, each of you. There are, I think, 12 different assessments you can take: gut health, stress, sleep, uh, hormone, etc. So those personalized assessments, as well as inside the First Form app, when I also coach you more on the nutrition level, those weekly assessments, they are life-saving because they really can help us manage and make decisions. Now, that's what I have control over. Obviously, you can go to your doctor, and then these are talking more about serum panels, which of course I can run too for you, but it's easier to get some basics down from your doctor. Gut testing we've done through the organic acids test and or the stool. Thyroid panel I think was done if we did blood for you. Cortisol is done through the Dutch test. Micronutrient analysis, that's done through the organic acids. Inflammatory markers are done through serum, blood. So there's lots of ways to see what's going on inside your body. That's all I wanted to say. And then there's lots of ways for you to manage what is going on inside your body from an outside looking in through answering extensive questions and seeing where you fall on the scale of, green, good, red, we need to address this. Okay, so this is more of the how, what you can do. Healing foods, healing foods. Nutrition is medicine. Nutrition is fuel, and nutrition is medicine. So the choices just are so important. And sardines are having their day in the sun. If you guys are in social media land and happen to be in the like health and wellness pocket of reality, holy cow, sardines are like the it girl. So I don't know. I've never had a sardine other than like, mm, a real authentic Caesar salad. They have, no, those are anchovies. Sorry, I don't think I've ever had a sardine. But wild salmon, sardines, omega-3 rich foods, getting that high quality omega-3, specific omega-3, not the 3, 6, and 9, because no one needs any more omega-6s in their life. Really important. Full mega, the first form one, and or the hummingbird omega, that's a monoglyceride, which is even higher bioavailability. Those are huge for helping with bringing inflammation down. They help with joint support and they help with cardiovascular heart support. Obviously, all the plants, the dark leafy greens, fermented foods. It just, you can't go wrong when you're making those good, healthy food choices. So your immune system is not your it's not your immune system is not your enemy. It's just overworking, right? So we just need to get it back on the right track. So there you go. Um, Rebuilding the immune resilience, a practical path forward. Autoimmunity is not just immune dysfunction, it is nervous system dysregulation as well. That's a huge piece to this is again finding the yin time in your life, the calm, right? The box breathing. That's literally that's my paint by numbers now. I love it. And then of course getting to bed, reading a book, winding down, not death doom scrolling all the time. So regulating your nervous system in a perfect universe, getting morning sunlight really is a non-negotiable because lack of sun and what sun does from a biochemical standpoint into our body is everything. It is everything. It is the root of life. Stabilizing your blood sugar at every meal. Again, that is fiber, that is protein, that is healthy fat. That's not just the convenience carbs. Protecting sleep like medicine. Obviously repair the gut intentionally, which is what we have been doing, we're continuing to do, or we're about ready to do. And then, that's me as far as the personalized guidance. That's me cheering you on and correcting things when they get off course, right? So finding 5 minutes a day for the deep breathing or the gentle movement or walking without your phone. If you could do it in the sun, even better. Prayer, meditation, whatever it is that kind of really calms that vagal nervous system is huge. And I can't speak enough that the dysregulation of our nervous system is a piece of this at its core, and then it'll help get everything else correct. So that is all I have, I believe.